love what you do. You have to get up every day. And it's Groundhog Day. And there's no days off. Now it's all about
created by artificial intelligence, right? You swear it's Photoshop editing, perhaps a movie special effect, or even those apps that exaggerate body proportions. But prepare yourself for the shock. None of that is true. Are you enjoying this story, Nick Walker? Then support the channel with your subscription. Attention! 94.8% of the people who watch these videos are still not subscribed. If you're part of that group, take the opportunity and subscribe now. It's free, and that way you'll keep receiving amazing stories about the greatest legends of professional bodybuilding. And there's more. At the end of the video, you'll find other epic stories just like this one. Don't miss it. The man you're looking at is named Nick Walker, and every inch of this impossible body is absolutely genuine. This physique defies all notions you have about the limits of human anatomy, and when you discover the brutal sacrifice he makes to maintain this appearance, you'll understand why this story needs to be shouted from the rooftops. This man is only 3 decades old. His height doesn't exceed 5'7", but he carries on his bone structure something between 297 to 308 pounds of pure, dense muscle tissue. We're not talking about fat weight or liquid retention, but compressed muscle fibers that seem to have been sculpted by a digital artist who completely lost their sense of proportion. When he walks the sidewalks, the reaction of passers-by is universally the same. Wide eyes, dropped jaws, genuine terror, absolute disbelief. Small children cling to their guardians' legs. Adults interrupt their conversations to capture that vision on their smartphones. Some pedestrians literally change direction to avoid proximity. Nick no longer has the appearance of a common member of the human species. He resembles a protagonist who escaped from the pages of a superhero graphic novel, however devoid of any supernatural abilities, and carrying all the devastating consequences of pushing a biological organism far beyond any natural evolutionary limit. The numbers that define Nick Walker's physical structure sound like science fiction. Bicep circumference reaching 22 inches, thigh perimeter exceeding 31 inches, chest measurement that exceeds 59 inches, shoulder width so exaggerated that he faces real difficulties passing through conventional door frames. His veins protrude like high-voltage electrical wires spread across his entire body surface, creating a vascular design that more closely resembles exposed hydraulic piping. But there's something much more alarming happening beyond the extreme vascularity: his skin pigmentation. Over the competitive years, Nick's skin has gradually transformed its tonality, acquiring whitish nuances, sometimes yellowish, completely divergent from what would be considered normal for healthy epidermal tissue. The dermis is tensioned to the breaking point, presenting abnormal shine in certain regions, and this is definitely not the result of strategic lighting or digital filters. It's the organism emitting desperate distress signals. Nick Walker's varicose veins deserve to be treated as a separate clinical case. They simply don't cease their growth. With each competitive season, each annual cycle, new dilated veins emerge, building a terrifying labyrinth of overloaded blood vessels that snake through his upper limbs, lower limbs, trunk, and abdominal region. His cardiac muscle operates as if it were responsible for the blood circulation of 3 or 4 individuals simultaneously, being forced to propel endless liters of blood through a circulatory system that was never biologically designed to support this magnitude of extreme body mass. Nick Walker's ascending trajectory in the universe of professional bodybuilding was explosive and impressive. In the year 2021, he detonated on the international scene, conquering the title of Arnold Classic Ohio, one of the most revered competitions in the sport, precisely in his debut as a professional competitor. He also secured victory at the New York Pro that same year, and, surprising absolutely all the specialists, achieved 5th place at Mr. Olympia, the most important bodybuilding championship on the planet, in his inaugural participation. In the year 2022, he repeated his triumph at Arnold Classic, Ohio, definitively cementing his nickname, The Mutant. It wasn't just a marketing strategy, it was a literal and precise description of what audiences witnessed. A human being who appeared to have undergone a genetic mutation beyond the physiological limits known to medical science. However, this unnatural speed of muscle mass accumulation, this extraordinary ability to add pounds and pounds of contractile tissue in record periods, exacted a tribute that few have the courage to speak about openly. To comprehend the true tribute Nick Walker pays daily, we need to discuss what really occurs in the invisible backstage of elite world bodybuilding. Sustaining 308 pounds of musculature on a 5'7" structure is not achieved with grilled chicken breast, baked sweet potato, and whey protein shakes. The reality is considerably darker and dangerously more complex. Nick utilizes massive doses of anabolic steroids, quantities that would provoke a collapse in any endocrinologist physician just upon learning the numbers. We're discussing synthetic testosterone, trenbolone, oxandrolone, stanozolol, and an extensive list of chemical compounds that would be exhaustive to enumerate completely here. But the pharmacology doesn't end there. Growth hormone in industrial dosages, insulin being administered via injection multiple times daily to force nutrients into the interior of muscle cells, extremely potent diuretics before competitive presentations to eliminate subcutaneous liquid and appear with even more extreme definition, thyroid hormones for metabolic hypervelocity, and a true ambulatory pharmacy of additional substances trying to control the side effects of other drugs. It's a vicious and extremely dangerous cycle where each chemical compound demands another chemical compound to try to control its adverse reactions. Nick Walker's liver functions like a chemical processing plant operating 24 hours without interruption, trying to process and filter all these toxic substances. The liver enzyme values of bodybuilders at this level are usually stratospherically elevated, signaling severe and progressive hepatic damage. The heart, which we've already mentioned previously, remains constantly under extreme tension, pulsing more rapidly, contracting with more force, with the ventricular walls progressively thickening, a condition called cardiac hypertrophy that represents extreme danger. The risk of myocardial infarction is tangible and imminent. It's not alarmist dramatization. These are verifiable medical statistics. Professional bodybuilders present a significantly higher mortality rate than the general population, with numerous cases of deaths before completing 40 or 50 years of age. Fulminant cardiac arrests, acute myocardial infarctions, cerebrovascular accidents, terminal renal insufficiency, irreversible hepatic diseases. The catalog of risks is genuinely frightening. Nick's kidneys also suffer immensely, being forced to filter absurd volumes of dietary protein, creatinine, and metabolic debris from an organism that is perpetually in a state of artificial anabolic overload. Blood pressure remains chronically elevated, arteries lose their natural elasticity, become rigid and calcified, multiplying cardiovascular risk even further. And there are more complications. Obstructive sleep apnea, a condition where the individual ceases breathing during the sleep period, is practically universal among bodybuilders of this bodily magnitude. Nick probably depends on a CPAP device every night just to achieve adequate oxygenation while resting, because the neck and tongue become so muscular that they mechanically obstruct the upper respiratory pathways. Sleep quality is terrible. The organism never truly rests. The autonomic nervous system is perpetually in a state of hyper-alert. Financially speaking, maintaining this body represents incredibly high costs. We're not discussing hundreds of dollars monthly. We're talking about thousands, possibly tens of thousands of dollars. Food alone represents a monumental cost. Nick needs to ingest between 6,000 to 10,000 calories daily, which means kilograms and kilograms of red meats, poultry, fish, rice, tubers, dozens of eggs, and extensive nutritional supplementation. Legitimate pharmaceutical-grade steroids and hormones are not cheap, and resorting to black market versions can be even more dangerous and unpredictable. There's the cost of constant medical exams that any responsible bodybuilder should perform. Complete blood panels, echocardiograms, hepatic ultrasonographies, rigorous monitoring of health markers. There's the cost of specialized trainers, sports nutritionists, elite physical coaches. There's the cost of intercontinental travels to competitions around the globe, championship registrations, specific preparation for each competitive event. And the varicose veins mentioned earlier? Nick Walker's varicose veins are a disturbing visual testimony to what is occurring internally in his circulatory system. They continue emerging and expanding because his total blood volume is enormously larger than normal. The hydrostatic pressure inside the venous vessels is constantly elevated, and the venous valves that normally prevent blood reflux are failing under extreme mechanical pressure. These dilated and tortuous veins are not merely unsightly, they are painful, can develop thrombi, can dangerously inflame, and are one more unmistakable sign that the body is operating drastically beyond its evolutionarily designed capacity. It's comparable to constantly overloading an automotive engine. Eventually, some critical component will catastrophically fail. It's merely a matter of time until collapse. The brutal and inescapable reality is that Nick Walker, like so many elite international bodybuilders, is making an extremely high-risk bet. He is negotiating his future health and possibly decades of life for the ephemeral and transitory glory of being one of the most massive and impressive living humans on the planet. Each competition he wins, each prize he lifts above his head, each photograph that goes viral on digital social networks comes accompanied by an invisible but brutally real price paid in accumulated cardiovascular damage, progressive hepatic destruction, renal compromise, and endocrine dysregulation. And here's the most terrifying part of this equation. He is aware of it. Everyone within the sport is aware. But the intoxicating combination of global fame, money from lucrative sponsorships, massive social validation, and the addictive adrenaline of pushing the human body to the absolute limit is too powerful for many to resist. Are you enjoying this story, Nick Walker? Then support the channel with your subscription. Attention! 94.8% of the people who watch these videos are still not subscribed. If you're part of that group, take the opportunity and subscribe now. It's free, and that way you'll keep receiving amazing stories about the greatest legends of professional bodybuilding. And there's more. At the end of the video, you'll find other epic stories just like this one. Don't miss it! Nick Walker is simultaneously inspiring and terrifying, a testament to what human will and modern pharmacological science can create together, and a somber reminder that not everything that is technically possible should necessarily be executed. When you visualize that image of him that resembles artificial intelligence generation, remember, it's genuinely real, but the price of that reality may very well be existence itself.